Do you feel like the Lions-Texans game has lost a little bit of the shine that it had coming into the season?
The Texans suck.
Well, the Texans are still 6-3 though, and Detroit's the hottest team in the league. Like everything about this game should scream, "Oh, must watch." But I'm getting the feeling that people just aren't very excited because people are not believing in Houston.
Oh, I'm getting that weird feeling though about this game. Like that
okay,
weird,
so it's back on the table.
Well, I'm getting that strange feeling that the Texans are going to win, only because like now,
because everyone's overlooking them.
Now I'm like, oh, Detroit's insane. Number one in our rankings, unbeatable. And
Nico Collins comes back this week.
Houston, like they're terrible. And now it's in Houston. And it just has one of those feels where, okay, now Houston's going to win.
And Nico Collins coming back is huge.
Yeah, Stroud's going to ball. Mixon's going to do his thing. I'm going to pick Detroit. I'm not going to pick against them the rest of the season. But this just feels like a spot where it's going to be closer than people think.
What do you think, Ziggy? Will Houston kind of bounce back? This is a huge prove-it opportunity because people are talking
100%
really poorly about the Texans, who I'm sure Texans fans are sitting back in their seats saying, what the hell? Like, I get that, I get the offensive line has been really bad, but we're still winning football games. Like, this is the opportunity to show it to people that they're for real. Do you actually think they're for real, though?
Do I think the Texans are for real?
Yeah. Well, let's stick to this game for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just focusing on this game. I mean, the injury for the Texans have been tough, right? Will Anderson, it looks like he'll be out. But as you say, there's some huge players coming back. Everybody's focusing on Nico Collins, but Jimmy Ward should be back. Azeez will be back too. Like, there's a lot of good players coming back for this Texans team on offense and defense. And also, they added Zachary Thomas, who will hopefully help the offensive line. I don't think people realize just how good Nico Collins is or just how important he is for this team.
Agree.
He might be the best player in the NFL at getting open and creating space.
All right. A little
He's
aggressive.
certainly one of the 4 or 5 best players at it. And to add him back to your offense, I mean, the offense we saw last week that lost to the Jets was Tank Dell and basically nobody else. If Nico Collins comes back, there's not a guarantee he didn't practice today, but if he comes back, I think the Texans have a decent chance to win this game. Like, it's easy to forget when they were mostly healthy, they were able to play Buffalo. Like, they've played a lot of good games this season. I'm not placing a unfortunate road loss to the Jets as decisive for the team. I think they can definitely keep it close and show that they're one of the NFL's better teams.
Yeah,
that's a different question.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. As far as the matchup, where can Houston win? Like, where can Houston compete with Detroit? A lot of people are looking at the Houston run defense, trying to slow down Gibbs and Montgomery. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, I'll tell you right now, the Detroit offense is a machine right now. You're going to have to score. So the spot that has to improve, and Texans fans know where I'm going with this. The O-line is 28th in pass block win rate this season. They've just been atrocious. How many times do you turn on the Texans games and CJ Stroud's just running for his life, trying to make a play a lot? He's CJ Stroud, so he makes a lot of plays as well. But Zadarius Smith comes in now. That's bolstering the Lions pass rush. If Houston can limit the pressure on Stroud, which is far easier said than done given the way they performed this year, I think we're trending towards that shootout, especially with Nico Collins back, because frankly, without him, Tank Dell is not enough, especially with Diggs out for the year. So Nico Collins gives the Texans a chance. Otherwise, I would very confidently pick Detroit. But it really, you got to circle what happens up front, and you're better off betting on the Lions pass rush winning and creating problems for Houston than you are being hopeful that the Texans can get it together when they haven't done that all year.
And again, this sounds obvious, but no miscues. Last week, Green Bay had a missed field goal and intercept pick 6 to end the half. And when Detroit's in the backfield, which they will be, that's even something as simple as Stroud just realizing nothing's here, taking a sack.
And that's what you're right. That's what Love was doing wrong for a lot of that game.
Like, it's simple, just take the sack and punt the ball instead of trying to throw something up and it's picked off.
Detroit, I believe, has 2 turnovers in the last 6 games. Like, they just don't make mistakes anymore. It's crazy watching them because, especially when we played them, I told you guys a few times now, when the Vikings were playing Detroit, I was losing my mind at just how efficient they are everywhere. And then Darnold has the interception before the end of the half, and that winds up costing them the game. And you just go like, these guys don't make any errors. And if you make an error, you're screwed. So that's where I think it's such a problem for Houston with that O-line Because what does a weak offensive line create? Havoc, turnovers, issues. So I'm going Detroit based on that. But would it surprise me if CJ Stroud pulled it off? There are a few quarterbacks in the league that are capable of just throwing the entire team on their shoulders and getting it done. Wouldn't shock me, especially in Houston. But I have to pick what I've been seeing lately, and I'm going Detroit too. So
yeah, I got lines close.
I'd love to see Houston. I mean, Houston wins. The Vikings are tied with Detroit again. It would be awesome. But I mean, they're just on a special run in Detroit. Okay, the last game before going over to Zig or Zag. How about some Steelers football, Jack?
Oh, finally, it's about time.
Yeah, how about some Steelers football?
Gosh,
back on track.
It's about time.
It's been a little while. We head to Washington, the nation's capital. It's been a busy week in the nation's capital, but really because the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming to town, and they should be renovating the stadium, putting in more seats because they travel.
That's why DC's been crowded all
week.
That's
why
it's been. Pittsburgh's coming to town.
So Russell Wilson, it's his first road game with the Steelers. Does that get you a little nervous?
No.
Or are you just very confident?
And it's one thing. It's the difference between your first road game in the NFL versus on a different team. He's played on the road before.
And hey, these are two teams that were both quite active at the trade deadline. You guys bring in Mike Williams, Preston Smith.
I like
the Commanders, a huge trade for Marshawn Lattimore. I mean, maybe to counter the Mike Williams move. So it's going to be fun. It feels like one of those tight, like real football games where it's tough football, probably close going into the fourth quarter. And now you're going to get mad at me here. I really like Pittsburgh. I think they're very good. These kind of games, I look to the quarterback, though. When I think it's going to be a tough, hard-nosed game, I look at the quarterback and I say, all right, who do I trust more? And Jayden Daniels has been a difference maker all year. I think he continues to be a difference maker. And I think that Washington wins this one in the realm of like 24-20, 21-17, that kind of ugly game that they pull out in the end.
Yeah, I disagree.
Shocking. Shocking.
I believe the Steelers D against the rookie quarterbacks going to have their way. We know what Tomlin's record is against rookie quarterbacks, something outrageous. They'll have some sort of scheme conjured up for this guy. And it's a quick, about 3.5 hour drive from Pittsburgh over to DC. So JD he'll be playing in his home stadium, but be playing an away game. Russ has been good, undefeated as a Steeler, 2-0. Mike Williams addition, the offense is going to click. George Pickens going to do his thing. I think it's Pittsburgh pretty big.
Big?
I think it's Pittsburgh pretty big. Yep, they're a dog. I love them outright. Their defense gives Jayden Daniels a hard time. Russ and the gang marches up the field. Pickens, ball hawk, does his thing. I like the run game with Jalen Warren.
Okay, so shockingly, Jackie's gone Steelers.
I got Pittsburgh by double digits. I'm saying like 24-7 Pittsburgh.
Ziggy, we're split.
I think we give JD a hard time.
Who you got, Ziggy?
I mean, the Commanders surely hope that Marshawn Lattimore is going to be able to play this game, right? What a difference that would make. It's unclear whether or not he'll be able to play.
He's got the hamstring thing going on.
Yeah, he said he's going day to day. He's hopeful he can play, but we'll see. I mean, here's the thing, is you're looking at the offense in the NFC that scored the most points and the defense in the AFC that's allowed the least points. This is a huge moment. And Jack, I think you're right. It's going to come down to whether or not the Pittsburgh defense is going to be able to disrupt Jayden Daniels. I think they will disrupt Jayden Daniels. I think they're going to be in his face. I think it's going to be hard for him to play. But his mobility is so hard to deal with. Even if you're TJ Watt, it is hard to deal with a quarterback who can move like him. And even though I think he'll make some mistakes, he'll be under a lot of pressure. I have not seen enough from Russell Wilson. Just because he hasn't played enough, I am not confident he's going to be able to handle a Commanders defense that has risen to the level of mediocre.
Oh, yeah.
They've become a okay defense. I think Russell Wilson will play well. Will he play well enough to overcome what Jayden Daniels can do? I don't think so. So I'm taking the Commanders, but I think this is probably the most exciting game of the slate.
Russ going to carve him up.
Jack, one thing, if I'm going to play devil's advocate with myself a little bit here and support Jack, it's that the Commanders' offense has been awesome, but they haven't really played many good defenses this year. They really haven't played. I think they played one solid pass defense this entire season. And, Pittsburgh defense, they come at you. They have TJ Watt. Jayden Daniels, when he's pressured, here's some numbers for you. 29th out of 36 qualifying quarterbacks in terms of his passer rate against pressure this season. And when TJ Watt's on the other side of the ball, they just added Preston Smith. maybe we see some more mistakes. We've been very quick to anoint Jaden Daniels the best rookie quarterback from this class, like one of those CJ Stroud type of guys, elite quarterbacks immediately. I think we all still agree that that's fair given the way he's played. But when you have TJ Watt on the other side of the ball, it gets real. It gets real quick. So I can see a world. Yeah, I'm not confident that I don't think the Commanders blow out Pittsburgh here, even though I'm not a huge fan of your guys' offense.
Pittsburgh.
Maybe I'm being harsh on the Pittsburgh offense, but no, there's a world where you guys are creating a lot of pressure and forcing mistakes that we haven't seen from Jaden Daniels this year.
This is now the NFL for Jaden Daniels. He's played the Giants twice. That's like a college team. The Bears.
Yeah, that Bengals defense.
He's played SEC opponents.
The Bears defense is solid. The Bears defense held him to 12 points.
He played in the SEC last year. He faced better competition than he has this year in the NFL. And now this is the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. He's going to see what the NFL is all about. They're going to get in his grill. I'm saying 3 turnovers from Jaden Daniels. I think Pittsburgh cruises.
All right. So there's some.
Najee's running like a beast.